Welcome, everyone. My name is Jonathan Leitonen, and I am the Instruction and Reference Specialist here at the Montgomery Library. Today's webinar is on how to use two of our main databases, CU Search and Academic Search Complete, and also how to find some government sources through a library guide I recently made. Then we'll go over some other topics such as the TRAP test for evaluating the credibility of sources. All right, so I wanted to start with this diagram I made right here. Think of this as kind of like a map. When you start at the Montgomery Library homepage, there are all these different things you can click, and we actually have hundreds of pages on our website, so I've tried to boil it down to the main things you need to remember. So first, it's really important to know how to sign in, and here's how you do that. So on the library homepage, which actually looks a little bit new now, you find the Advanced Search button. And this is just a neat trick to log in quickly. You click Advanced Search, and then you find the sign in button up here, and you have to click that, and then you put in your information. When you're in your account, you can check which books you have checked out. So you can see what I have here. And then if you need to renew something, you could click something here and then renew it that way. If you want to go back to the homepage, you just click the chapel icon to get back to the library homepage. All right, so let's look at the map again. I want to show you a few more things. So I put Academic Search Complete and CU Search in these different colors so you know how to get there. So Academic Search Complete is actually found through databases A through Z, whereas CU Search is right at the homepage. And it can help you find books, ebooks, news, and magazine articles, and also peer-reviewed articles, and I'll show you how to do that later. And then there's a number of other databases too. Then we also have library guides, and we'll go over this a little bit later. All right, so before we move on, I want to go over three of our top library services. So that's what these are. So here's how you do that. So on the home page, you click Library Services, and that directly leads you to a page where you can schedule a personal research appointment with me. And then there's another link on the left menu bar right here to get information about InterLibrary loan. And these instructions explain how to get articles and books from other libraries. The next link on the menu is for CU Library Exchange. That's kind of a fancy name for getting books in the mail. So if you're an online student or located at a regional campus, you can get print books mailed to you, and you can learn more about that here and learn how that works through this tutorial video, linked right there. All right, so here's this map again. So we just covered the library services. Now let's follow the next path. This shows that CU Search is right on our homepage. So I'm going to close this and get back to Google Chrome. The fastest way to get to the library website is just to search Campbellsville Library, and then you'll get a link to Montgomery Library here. And you can see we just got a brand new homepage today, so it looks a little different. It looks more inviting, I think. So let me zoom in a little bit. All right, so here's CU Search in the middle. So let's start by finding some sources about our own Kentucky hero, President Abraham Lincoln. So first I'm going to put Abraham Lincoln's names in quotation marks. Okay, I'm going to put it in quotation marks so we get the right Lincoln. You know, we don't want to get the car or the town. We want to get the actual Abraham Lincoln. Quotation marks give you what's called an exact phrase search. And by the way, I'm going to sign in here to make sure everything's working fine as well. Here's how that works. Sorry, just give me a moment. All right, so see, we got 4,400 results for the term Abraham Lincoln. And on the left here, you can see a variety of search filters. So you can filter for just articles or just even ebooks or just print books or other kinds of sources here. And then if you click Show Only, this gives you a few more options. This is really important because this allows you to make sure you're getting only full text articles where the whole article is available online. But more importantly, peer-reviewed. Many of your professors will say that you need to get peer-reviewed articles, and that's where the button is. You just scroll down to Show Only and click Peer-reviewed. That means that basically professors or doctors or some kind of professional researchers originally wrote the article and then got other professional researchers to review it. So those are the articles that the WorldCat system identifies as coming from the highest quality academic journals. So we've got really a lot. So 1,900 peer-reviewed articles about Abraham Lincoln. And another filter here is the year of publication. You can narrow down how old the sources are. And sometimes professors just want you to use sources from the last 10 years to get the most recent research, or you can pick a custom year range. And here's another thing. If you click At My Library, this allows you to turn on our interlibrary loan system. In other words, if you check this box here for other libraries, you will be searching for, let's make sure both are there. Okay, other libraries and Montgomery libraries. This will make sure you're searching both the Montgomery Library and items from our partner libraries. For example, we can even get books mailed to our campus from the other libraries, so we get extra sources. Actually, let me turn off peer-reviewed as well so you can see books. So previously, if we take other libraries off, previously we had 4,000 items here at the Montgomery Library. But if we do other libraries as well, now we get 7,500 results. So these, if it's an academic article, we can basically get a PDF of it and email the PDF to you. So wherever you are in the country. But unfortunately for books, you have to pick them up at the front desk here. We won't mail the books from other libraries, but they'll mail them to us and we'll keep them here at our library. So if you can stop by our front desk, you can get a library book from another library that was sent here. Let's see. So it typically will give you double the amount of sources, or even maybe not exactly double, but basically 50% to double the results. And then also you can also pay attention here to see if a source is at another library. Here it says at another library. Here it says at Montgomery Library, so that's how you know where it is. And if it has this number below it, that's the location on the shelf. And you can we can help you find that book. So if it is at another library, if it's an article, okay, let me narrow down peer-reviewed articles at other libraries. That helps. Okay, here's one. So if it is at another library, click the title, and then click the red button that says Request Item through Interlibrary Loan. Then you just have to fill out some basic information and submit the form. And if it's an electronic item, like an article, we'll email you the item, usually a PDF, within about 2 weeks. And as I said, if it's a book, also about 2 weeks, but you have to come to the library to pick it up. Let me show you one more thing. So if it's an actual book in our library, let's filter for books. So if it's a print book located, let's just do print books. Oops. You just do print books here in the library. You can use this code below here. So you see this, as I said, you can find this, you can use this code to find the book, or you can even request the book to put it on hold. What is it here? Request a hold, and that's how you can request the book, and it will be held for you at the front desk. And okay, so to narrow down a search for a more specific topic, you can actually use the word and. So let's look at the search bar. So if you put the word and in all caps, it's kind of like a plus sign. So I'm going to add the word Kentucky, since he was born here pretty close to Campbellsville University. And now it narrows it down to, let me take these search filters off so we can just see everything we get. And I'll try interlibrary loan as well. So we get something to do with Abraham Lincoln and Kentucky, so most likely about including his life and his childhood put here. And basically, this is a type of advanced search because every source has to have this term, Abraham Lincoln, and it has to have the word Kentucky in it, and that helps you narrow things down. All right, next, I want to show you how CU Search allows you to easily cite the sources that show up. So for example, let's try, okay, so for example, this book. So if you want to cite that book, you click the Cite button, and then if you're, then you select the citation style, depending on what your professor said, and I think most prefer APA style, and then you can copy it here into a Word document. And then it's good to keep track of your sources this way. So you could put you could label it something like this, research notes. It's also good to type your search keywords that you use, and then also your sources or your citations. So this is just kind of like a rough area to start putting your notes down, and you still have to edit these citations. There's a little bit of extra space here. I think it's pretty much correct. So, and you can also put in your search keywords. So I'll save this since this was these were the words I was searching. I'll put those here. And this is a really good habit that can help you organize your research. You put as you find things, just put the sources there, and you can format it later for your works cited page, but this is just for the first round. You save your keywords you use, and you save the sources. Something else that's really convenient is that you can share the source with yourself. You can basically get a permalink. So here's the link here. You copy that, or click copy link, and then you put that down here. And now you can very easily go back to that source. So if you just you could easily find 10 or 20 sources this way that are kind of related to your topic, and then later on you can determine if you're going to read them or not. But that's a good habit to save that all in one spot in a Word document like that. Also, one more thing I wanted to say is whenever you see automatic citations, it's always necessary to inspect the citation for missing data, indentation, or formatting when copying and pasting. Make sure to follow whatever your professor said. I see unusual mistakes all the time. So pay attention to what it gave you and consult the APA or MLA guidelines when you edit that. All right, so overall, CU Search is our broadest search database, and as I said, it includes books, ebooks, short articles, and long academic articles, and even news articles too. But however, for a variety of reasons, it still misses quite a few of the academic articles that should be available. So to do a more thorough search, we need to try Academic Search Complete as well. So that's kind of an easy way to remember it, that it's called Academic Search Complete, because that helps you complete your search. So CU Search is not really complete by itself until you try this other database. So anyway, at a minimum, you should, for every search term that you come up with, like this Abraham Lincoln in Kentucky, you should always try both CU Search and an Academic Search Complete. In order to find that, maybe I'll remind you of this diagram. So in order to find Academic Search Complete, you actually have to click Databases A to Z. And that's down here. And then you scroll down just a little bit, so it's in alphabetical order, and you click Academic Search Complete. This database provides journal and newspaper coverage for most academic areas of study. All right, so as I said, Academic Search Complete, it mainly pulls up peer-reviewed articles from scholarly journals, but it also includes short articles from top-quality magazines and news sources. And in some ways, I feel like it's more efficient and easier to use than CU Search, so I would just highly recommend using it. And for example, this peer-reviewed button, it's right here. So we can try the same topic. It was so Abraham Lincoln and Kentucky. So we use that same exact format. This format is actually pretty universal. Almost every database will treat this the same way. And then if we click peer-reviewed and then full text, we'll get all the articles that we have access to. And they might be, some of them will be the same as CU Search, and some of them will be a little bit different. So what should we do next? Okay, well, our topic we could do is Frederick Douglass as well. So they're related topics to each other because they respected each other very much, and they actually worked together to end slavery in the United States. Anyway, we got a few articles about these two historical figures. And as I said, quotation marks ensure that we'll get this exact historical figure. If you take off the quotation marks, you might get other people named Frederick as well, and we don't want that. All right, and so when you click on a source, this will give you some options. So if you want to access it, you can click Access Now PDF, or you can download it. Or if you look right above the title, you get these cite and share options. So you see the quotation mark here means cite. So you can get a citation here. I'll do, well, what was I using? APA. And you still have to check check the requirements of your instructor to make sure everything is fine here. Sometimes there are mistakes. I can already see mistakes. It kind of got mixed up between APA and MLA. So the capitalization is not correct. So a few mistakes here. And that's what you would have to do here. By the way, there's a neat trick here. You can merge the formatting so it looks more normal. And then in order to get the link, remember there's the share button. You see here, yeah, create link. Click that. Put that in Word here as well. And then we can put our search keywords here that I was studying Frederick Douglass as well. Oh yeah, by the way, you can also just email it to yourself here when you click this button here. All right, so now let me show you a neat trick. We go back to the results page. Let's go back here. So you see this blue link. There's an amazing trick in Academic Search Complete, because Academic Search Complete is just one of our EBSCO databases we have. So if you click the blue link at the top that gives you the name of this database, this allows you to include other databases in your search. So let's try a different search. Let me start over. So we'll try a different one. I'll put social media in quotation marks, and then I'll use the word and then mental health, because that's a pretty common topic people like to think about and research. And we're going to do full text peer reviewed, and I'll click search. And then now I'm going to click Academic Search Complete. And I'm going to add the other databases here. So I'm going to add anything to do with psychology or technology. So I'll just click this one. I'll skip that one. APA, psych articles. What else here? Health source. Maybe I'll do that. And then library information science and technology. So it's something about technology. So I'll include that. And what else? There's one, okay, Medline, because mental health is a part of medical fields as well. And psychology and behavioral sciences collection, and also sociological collection. So you can make a custom search, whatever you want to include, or if you're doing something in a business field, you could click the business ones, and also religion, database, whatever is relevant to your search. And I'll select and see now we should get even more articles. Yeah, so this gives us a higher number of results. And I think it's definitely important to take full advantage of all the resources that we pay for. So that's how you can include those in your search. And by the way, when you're at the list of databases A to Z, I would encourage you to explore the other ones too, because there's 98 of them. And it's good to just explore here and see what's available. All right, so let's go back to the home page. We can go on to a new topic here. All right, so now let's look at this map again. So the next topic today is to go over some library guides. So as I said, we're going to talk about the guide on statistics, data and analysis, government and non-government sources. But I also want you to be aware of 3 other guides that we have. And these ones are super important as well. These are really for any student here at CU. So the Research Basics Guide helps you understand how to generate search terms better and how to evaluate the quality of sources using the trap test, and overall, like a good review about how to write a research paper. And then the Guide to Citation Styles provides a good review of APA and MLA in-text citation, and basically how to format references, even if you're a beginner. So like as I was showing you, that you can get automatic citations, but you still have to use a website such as this one to check if your citations are correct. And this has basically everything you need to know and links to APA and MLA official sources about how to cite. Lastly, the last guide you should know about is the one on AI, plagiarism, and writing with integrity. And basically the moral of the story is, do not copy Grammarly and other AI-generated texts into your papers, because writing and editing your own work is good for you. And then, by the way, there's on the homepage, there's also a link here for tutorials. That's where you would be able to find this video in the future after I edit it, and a number of other videos and step-by-step instructions on how to use the website. And as a reminder, whenever you're using CU Search, Academic Search Complete, if you look for those icons that look like quotation marks in order to cite. All right, so now let's go take a look at this guide to statistics, data, and analysis. So in order to do that, we click Library Guides, and then we scroll down because it's in alphabetical order. Oh, I forgot to mention. So here's an important note at the top that I want everyone to know about. So you see how it says, please note that our library guides are currently under revision. If you need access to a library guide for a subject, please contact library staff for more information. So if you want to see a guide specifically for your major, just let us know, reach out. We have like 50 additional guides that aren't shown here because we have to revise them and look through them. And so whatever your major is, just let us know and we'd be happy to send it to you. All right, so now let's get on to the guide to statistics. So we scroll down to S. Statistics, data analysis, government, and non-government sources. And this one is especially important for social work, education, politics, criminal justice, and a variety of other social science majors. So if that's your major, this is a guide for you. So here's some tips here. So use the following websites that I've listed down here. to find data, statistics, reports, and analysis related to public policy and general societal conditions. So pay attention to whether a website URL is a government source, which almost always end in .gov or .mil, or a non-government website that ends in .org or some other domain extension. So there are a couple exceptions to this rule, but this is the general rule. And by the way, yeah, we don't necessarily endorse everything found here, but this is for research purposes. All right, so we have some policy tracking sources. You can follow the laws as they're coming out here in Kentucky or even in the United States Congress, the Kentucky General Assembly, and also you can find all the recent executive orders from the current presidential administration. So that's an important area to be aware of. It might affect your work or different aspects of your life. And so here's the federal government databases. This is an important place to start. So these are U.S. federal government databases for statistics, reports, and other types of documents related to past and current laws and programs. So MetaLib is one of these. So I'll just click on this. You can take a look here. It's basically, it should search kind of everything. And there's also different ways to search. So whatever your topic, you just put that in and see what you get. And then USA.gov. That's similar to MetaLib. It's just like an overall search of everything. So, oops. And so occasionally, because of different funding issues, some of these websites might or might not work. So you just have to do your best and see what's available right now. All right, and then for statistics and data sources, this is a little bit more detailed. So those are the overall databases, but then here's some more specific ones. So this is from the Census Bureau. Oh, by the way, yeah, pay close attention to whether the source here is from the Kentucky state government or the U.S. federal government, or even from the United Nations. So they're all kind of mixed together, but most of these are from the federal government. But a few are from like Kentucky Education Facts, and then some from the United Nations as well, like UNICEF. And the next section is about public policy think tanks or research organizations. So these are not government organizations, they're outside the government. And this isn't all of them, it's a lot of them. We don't necessarily endorse what these think tanks believe. They come from a variety of political perspectives, but these are good sources of, it's a good way to research what those people are proposing and what they think is best. And there's also, by the way, I even linked another guide. This is a really strong guide about social welfare research. So if you want to search that, you can also see what other libraries have, but these are what we have here. Also, it's good to be aware of this principle of how laws are made, so that it's good to review that, and it might be relevant to some project you're working on as you research. All right, so let's go back to the library guides. So I want to show you the Research Basics guide next. So I have a section called Generating Search Terms. So this reviews those kind of Boolean operators and quotation marks, what those do. And then I also have some tips for brainstorming and how to come up with keywords. And then there's also this section on evaluating resources. This is really important for evaluating any source, whether it's on a website or even in a database. You always want to ask yourself, when did this information come out? You want to look for the date. And then reliability, you want to see if that source you're using is based on real research, and did they cite their research they're using as well. And also you want to think about authority. Is the author an expert in the field, and what are the author's credentials? Do they actually have the authority to talk about that topic? And then audience, is it meant to be a scholarly resources, or is it written more to enlighten the public or entertain, or is it even just advertising something? Because if it's advertising something, the point of view will be especially biased. You want to check, does the author try to present a biased or unbiased point of view? And you just really have to think about that. And there's other resources here about how to write research papers here as well. So let's go back into library guides. The next one I wanted to show you was the citation styles guide. So this is basically everything you would have learned in a first year English composition class, kind of all boiled down in one place about how to make citations, whether you're using MLA or APA or another citation style as well. There's other help here. But anyway, this is where you can go first. Try this first if you're doing APA, or try this first if you're doing MLA. You can see sample citations of common sources, section by section guide, or the general format and title for a paper. See how to format that. All of that's available here. And then I wanted to go over just briefly about the AI Plagiarism and Writing Guide. So just a reminder that everyone needs to be aware of this, make sure they're not plagiarizing even by accident. And I really think ChatGPT really should be called Cheat GPT because it's used to cheat so much. But nowadays, all kinds of programs, including Grammarly, Google Docs, and I think even Microsoft Word have all these fancy AI capabilities, and you might accidentally be relying too much on the computer. And I think everyone needs to be more aware of the dangers of letting computers do the thinking and writing for you, because ultimately writing is really good for you and it makes your thinking stronger, actually doing it yourself without the help of a computer. And I'm kind of worried that this whole generation could be losing its ability to really think deeply as a result of overusing AI. In my own experience here, I think that AI is really hurting CU students right now because those students who are using AI to cheat are not learning properly. So they're not learning how to actually process information themselves and to write on their own. And as a result, they're not going to be able to pass their courses and graduate. And that really hurts the entire school. So just be careful about this. Never copy anything directly from AI into your paper. You just have to write everything yourself. And this will ensure that you're actually learning to write the old-fashioned way, really as millions of people have been doing for thousands of years. All right, so here's the map again that we started with. So this then summarizes all the essential functions on our website. All right, everyone, thank you for your time. And remember, if you ever need extra help, you can email me your questions, and you can also meet with me online through Teams or even in my office if you want to stop by on campus. And I hope you all have a great rest of your semester.